Hey guys, Kyle here. So, just before the show starts, I wanted to mention our Patreon. You can pay us $1 a month as a thank you, as a tip. You can pay $2 a month to get access to one of our bonus content shows, episodes 2 days early, and a secret Discord chat where all of our Patreon donors get to go and hang out and talk with us directly. Then there's a $5 tier that you can donate to get access to a whole bunch more content. We have multiple bonus episodes on there. So please check it out. Patreon.com/itgetsweird. We don't advertise, we don't make money. So check it out and throw some money if you think that would be cool. Thanks.
Welcome to It Gets Weird, our comedy show where we explore the unusual, the unbelievable, and the unexplained to try to make your world a little weirder. I'm Niall.
And I'm Kyle. And Niall, you know this, but the listeners don't know yet.
Okay.
I'm very excited. Welcome to It Gets Weird, by the way. Maybe I should be saying that more often.
I mean, I did just do the intro, but you can't, but I mean, if you want to welcome them as well, you're welcome to welcome anyone you'd like.
Well, how do they know my sort of general feelings if I don't say, oh, welcome, you're welcome here to listen to the show? They could be coming into the show just assuming only one host is excited to have us here.
The other host is very ambivalent to our presence.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I should start clarifying that and saying welcome to the show. It Gets Weird. I am a cat guy now.
Oh yeah.
There's a cat living in my house. And as I sat down to record this episode with you, I've learned a couple things about this cat. So First of all, not my cat. He's not my cat. His name's Parky or Parker, but we call him Parky. We got a lot of nicknames for him. Parkathin, Parkalingus. We got a lot of names for this guy.
Okay. Parkalingus, where'd that come from?
I think it was just something that I said at one point, or I don't really remember. I'll let you use your imagination.
I think it's because of your deep fondness of the song Metalingus.
That could be
the entrance theme song used by wrestler Adam Copeland, aka Edge.
Yeah, that was at the forefront of my mind when I said it, so it could have been that. Yeah. But no. So Parky, again, not my cat, but he spends some time outside. And I know that that's sort of it's occasionally a controversial idea with pet owners. But this cat spends some time outside. It's not my call. And he loves it out there, first of all.
Okay.
He loves going out there chasing birds and squirrels around. And he also may have created a small cat gang in the neighborhood.
All right.
We had neighbors telling us that there's a trio of cats that all look exactly like Parky, who stalk the streets together. And so presumably he's normally he's kind of like a bully of the other cats is what I've heard. But he seems to be getting along with these two other cats that are out there. So
he tries to find his street toughs.
Yeah, exactly. And he loves going outside to the point where I'll be sitting at my desk or whatever, and he will come up and give the longest, loudest meow you've ever heard. He will just yell at you until I mean, I've learned to, sometimes he's not allowed to go outside, right? Sometimes he's a bad boy and you got to be like, no, you can't go outside right now.
Yeah.
But he loves going outside so much that he'll yell at you until you do it. And it's reached a point where the other day I was sitting on the couch, doing whatever it was I was doing, and I heard a scratching at the door. And when I opened it up, Parky was stretching up on the door. He was up on the door. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Maybe he was just trying to get my attention. I don't know. And I was like, okay, whatever. Wrote it off. Then the next day, I walked up to I walked into the living room where the door to the outside is, and I caught him in the middle of reaching up and pulling the door handle down.
Oh, so he's learning. Okay.
So he's figured out what the mechanism is to open doors.
So you need to start like locking the door.
Well, okay. There's an extra layer to this story. We have an old as shit house that we're renting. It's got the classic landlord sort of like mark of we're just not going to do anything to really improve this thing. We're going to put a coat of paint over it and that's it.
Yeah. The old landlord special.
So my office door doesn't lock, nor does it close. I cannot like close it.
It doesn't latch.
It doesn't latch. None of it works. So I bought a door stopper. And that door, because this is an old weird house, the door stopper that I bought just barely fits into the crevice under the door, right?
Okay.
And in certain spots, it'll just go straight under it because the floor and the door are just that uneven.
It's uneven. Yeah.
So, point is, I was sitting here booting up Zoom where we do our discussions, and I look over and the door is opening, and I hear Parky outside my door. He was opening my door. So, point being,
we have a guest in the studio this week. His name's Parker.
Yeah, Parker's going to be here. He's got a lot to say about catnip and the squirrels outside. And yeah, I mean, I ended up like jamming the door shut as hard as I could. But you know, Parky and I have been fast friends, and he just really wants to get at me and the window that's behind me. He loves looking out that window. So, and for people out there who are like, but Kyle, we know you're allergic to cats. You mentioned it at some point on the podcast. What the fuck?
Yes.
I hear,
AKA what I said the first time you mentioned a cat
Yeah.
in your house.
Look, I hear you and I don't care. No, we have like he's on like a special diet that like helps with his, I can still get sneezy, but it's like tolerable now that he's on this special diet thing. So I don't know if that's like bunk, but it seems to be working okay. So anyways, that was my sort of,
even if it's a psychosomatic help, it's a help.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Anyways, that was my cat opening to this episode.
I think I will say, I don't know. Listeners can chime in if they so choose, but I would put cat opening above driving opening.
Sure.
That like in terms of like the Kyle oeuvre of opening bits, I think cat's a good one.
Yeah, definitely let me know which you prefer, because I can get back to whole driving stuff, like talking about like getting in my car and driving places. You know, tell me which one you like better. I can give you reports on Parky. One time he got into his treat box and he ate so many treats so fast that he threw up all over one of his favorite toys. And I had to throw the toy away and clean up his puke. That's cat living for you. I don't want to sound... I love this cat. I barely lived with this cat for like 2 months now, and I love him. But that was like, buddy... You're never seeing that toy again because you fucking puked on it. You puked all over the place. And that was preventable. You should have physically felt your limits with your treats, even if you broke into them, which again, bad boy. Bad.
Yeah. Like there's a lot of fucking around and finding out in that story for dear old Parky.
Yeah.
I wish there was maybe a bit more finding out for the topic of this week's podcast.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we do stuff about like conspiracies and like it's not like a pet podcast per se.
Although there are a lot of dogs.
Yeah, there's a lot of dog related content on our show. So if this is your first episode, which is, it's always funny to think about like as you're recording, like what if this is somebody's first episode? And all I can say is if you're a dog fan, you're going to love our back catalog.
Yeah. So Kyle.
Yeah.
I want to just see this week I'm going to talk about a person who runs a whole network of things. There's a specific reason for why I got on to talking about this guy that will be revealed later, because he's kind of responsible for something that I find very frustrating in terms of researching conspiracy theories.
Okay.
But today, Kyle, I want to know, do you know the name Mike Adams?
Oh my God. The name sounds very familiar.
He probably has come up on stuff we've talked about before, because Mike Adams, for those that don't know, is the owner and proprietor of the website empire centered around Natural News.
Okay.
And also a million other websites. We'll get more into that later, but he is a big, like, he's appeared on a lot of Alex Jones's shows and co-hosted stuff with him. He's a conspiracy news aggregator du jour, specifically around in the 2000s. And he's still active, 100% still active. These websites still exist. But he kind of had a heyday pre the kind of Alex Jones spurned on purging of these websites from social media in like the 2018, 2019 era.
And this is naturalnews.com, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I have that up while we're discussing, just because like I don't think I've ever actually browsed this site, but I'm already getting a little bit of a vibe.
It is immediately, you're going to immediately understand who this person is when you look at the website and the kind of stuff that he puts out there. Like, he is your like, in a lot of ways, he's not special. In a lot of ways, he is just a garden variety aggregator and writer of conspiracy nonsense. A lot of, he covers your big ones, your 9/11 trutherism, your anti-vax movements, your like alternative supplement industries, your Sandy Hook denial, like a lot of of course with the COVID stuff, he got very deep in on that, Trump stuff. Like, he covers the gamut. But
yeah,
there is a reason why this guy is important, because he runs one of the largest networks of conspiracy websites that there is. Like, he is much more behind the scenes, less known than Alex Jones is, but his influence and reach is maybe around the same. Like,
okay,
we'll get into him for reasons, but he, like, this guy probably should be a bigger name than he is to conspiracy people. So
I was on Natural News, just kind of scrolling a little bit, and I did discover, and like, again, I like so many of these episodes, like, I don't want to chomp on your bit here, but I did discover that it links to another website called prepwithmike.com.
Yep. Yeah, he's got a lot of doomsday prep stuff. I believe that is his website for selling doomsday meal kits and supplies.
Which, it's very interesting because, scrolling, there are some alarming articles about how many hundreds of millions of people in the United States will be wiped out in the impending nuclear holocaust.
Yeah. So this guy does do a lot of fear mongering.
Yeah.
And that's been a tactic of his for a long time, dating all the way back to the turn of the millennium.
A right-wing conspiracy guy is doing fear-mongering? That just doesn't...
I know.
I don't know.
It's really... Right. It's unbelievable. So let's get into him before you spoil yourself too much with his websites.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So Mike Adams, aka, as he calls himself, the Health Ranger, was born in either 1969 or 1967. This part of the reason, like, part of the thing about him being lesser known is that there aren't all of these extensive, detailed profiles about his early life and history. So unlike our Alex Jones cast, I don't have like a whole episode of fucking background on this guy.
Sure.
He really comes to prominence in the 90s. But he was born in the late 60s and he kind of gets his okay. He started by doing stuff by just in the early internet, by running like newswire websites. He also founded a company called Aerial Technology, or it's not Aerial Technologies, Aerial Marketing, which sold as best as I can understand it, he kind of was an early proponent of software that would be used by massive corporations so their mailing list emails wouldn't get caught by your spam filter. So
Oh my
he's doing
God.
stuff to kind of get people's corporate emails to you without getting them filtered.
So this man should be in jail.
You could have saved that for the next point I was making,
Okay.
because
It's already
the flip side of that is, if you know how to white hat, black hat, if you know how to get those emails to not go around, you also are very good at making spam emails. So
Yeah.
I haven't found a lot of like fully sourced, explained things that he did, because a lot of this was kind of gray area bullshit, but he also was probably responsible for a lot of like spam email fishy bullshit in that era as well.
Wow,
So they kind of worked
jail
on both
time.
sides.
Infinite
Yeah.
jail time
Um,
for that
So-
crime alone. I'm sure we'll find out plenty more good stuff, but like that alone lands you in the gulag.
yeah. And we will talk more about that as we go along here.
Gulag?
Not the gulag,
Oh,
but
okay.
his kind of the reasons that he might have made modern society worse.
Okay. Oh, God.
So he lives in Texas for most of his life, as far as I can tell. He like, for a long period of his kind of heyday of the late 90s to mid 2000s, he projected this image of, I still, despite all of my successes, just wear flannels and live in a trailer in Texas, and all of this success hasn't changed me, kind of thing. Like, that was kind of his vibe. And then around 2008, it seems like he moved to Ecuador to he said to like promote his like all natural lifestyle. He can do it better outside of the US or whatever, but it really seems like he left to avoid a lot of legal issues that might have come up for him if he stayed in the US. But his main thing is basically making websites that push conspiracy stuff. His big thing was anti-vax, but he has dipped his toe into fucking everything.
I mean, that's the sort of natural progression for, conspiracy people trying to make a quick buck off of this right-wing paranoid conspiracy stuff. So
Yeah. So it's estimated that at the peak of Natural News's viewership, which was in 2018, along with the kind of other networks that are tied to it, it got 6.5 million unique visitors per month, and 31% of that came through organic searches. So he is very good. If Mike Adams is actually really good at one thing, it is search engine optimization. That is the thing that he is getting his stuff to appear on your search is what he is actually very good at. The site Natural News has been characterized by a person who writes up a lot about it for Skeptoid and various other sites, named Brian Dunning, as the number one worst anti-science website on the internet. And a physician blogger who is a professor at Yale has characterized Adams as a dangerous conspiracy mongering crank. And another thing is it is the wretchedest, scummiest, and quackiest website on the internet, to the point where it has its own dedicated parody website, Natural Nude, NEWD, that is basically just trying to take the piss out of Mike Adams.
all right, I'm looking up Natural Nude.
Yeah. And as quoted by Rational Wiki, it might not be around anymore, but at one point Natural Nude still existed.
Damn.
You might have to Internet Archive that shit.
Yeah.
But every other quack site thinks Natural News is actually a quack site. But when you look at Mike Adams himself, this is his kind of claim in his bios and everything about how he got his start. So this is straight from Mike himself. Mike Adams is no stranger to traditional Western medicine. The son of a Pfizer contractor and a clinical trial tester for some of America's biggest pharmaceutical companies, Adams grew up using prescribed pharmaceuticals, trusting doctors, and believing what the FDA reported was safe and in the best interests of the country. All that would change when he was faced with his own personal health emergency, and the pillars of medicine he once trusted came crumbling down before him. Mike began his mission as the Health Ranger as a response to his own failing health. At the age of 30, he was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, a disease brought on by poor diet and severe lack of exercise. As a high-powered software executive, extreme levels of stress and cholesterol, depression, and chronic back pain were common features of Mike's past. Searching for answers to his health woes, Mike dove into research. He devoured thousands of books on nutrition, pharmaceutical drugs, wellness programs, the politics of food, anything he could find. Mike has now made it his life mission to share the most remarkable discovery he made on his quest. The vast majority of all diseases can be easily prevented and even cured without drugs or surgery. And that's exactly what Mike did. He cured himself of diabetes in a matter of months and transformed himself into the picture of perfect health in mind, body, and spirit.
Okay. This is a guy that I find sort of infuriating.
Good.
I can already see where this is going. Now I am pleased to report that I found naturalnude.com on the Internet Archive.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I can give you a couple fun little things. So first of all, it pops up with a little Facebook pop-up that says, like our Facebook page to keep up to date with the latest bollocks from Natural Nude.
Okay.
I don't know why this one is this is the one that I immediately saw. This man only ate carrots for 9 months and you won't believe what happened.
I mean, that's look, this guy is possibly made one of the first listicles and also is a peak clickbait headline writer. So that is fitting for a kind of parody of the website.
Stunning finding reveals greatest level of stupidity amongst readers of health news websites. Psychedelic trance music is bad for your health. Natural remedies found to be 100% effective against fake illnesses. Okay. All right. So this is it's pretty good. Now these people are really aiming to be The Onion. I can tell it's not nearly as funny.
No, it's hard to be The Onion of one specific guy. You know,
it's true.
But there is, you could probably do that better nowadays since that has become so much more prevalent.
That is, and which
recognizable.
Can I be real? That's a phenomenon I've never understood at all. The like more specific like parody news websites. I don't get it. I don't know why. I think The Onion kind of, figured it out, right? Like,
yeah.
But then, you go here in naturalnude.com. Cocaine found to be as addictive as a good brie. So that's,
I mean, that's pretty funny.
No, that's pretty good.
I'll take that.
It's pretty good. I just, I do wonder, I guess it's just the fact that it was so popular to,
Yeah.
Onion,
everyone tried to make those websites for a while, and there are some absolutely terrible ones for sure.
Yeah.
But fucking joke on this man. Who cares? So Mike Adams, one of his big things is natural living. The kind of, technology is bad. Industrialized medicine is bad. You've got to do just an all natural, everything. He's very big critic. He bills himself as a critic of modern science and health and everything, when in reality he just is like screaming ridiculous shit into the void. But he's very big on like GMOs and all that kind of, like, everything that you think of when you think of like crunchy conspiracy guy that wants to just sell you supplements. That is what we're dealing with here.
Mm-hmm.
He also was very big on HIV and AIDS denialism, at least like in the denial that HIV causes AIDS. Barack Obama's birther claims. All like he has done everything.
Yeah. Now is this like the HIV AIDS denialism where like the government manufactured it, or just like it's not basically a real disease?
AIDS isn't actually caused by HIV and is I didn't listen to a lot of stuff on that one specifically because but it is just, that is the main claim he made, was that AIDS is basically not, I don't know if it wasn't real or if it just definitely isn't caused by HIV. And so the HIV thing, like, it's all big pharma lying to you.
Great.
Everything is big pharma and big government lying to you.
Okay.
Yes. He also, let's see here. Oh yeah, sorry. It is, the pharmaceutical industry is creating HIV vaccines with the sole purpose of creating as many HIV positive people as possible to then sell antiretroviral drugs at a huge profit. He also claims that mammographic screenings creates cancer. Basically, anything that's supposed to help with your cancer gives you cancer, actually, is what he thinks. Any sort of chemotherapy, etc. He thinks anyone who administers chemotherapy should be prosecuted criminally.
That's some fucking dangerous stuff to convince people.
It's pretty bad. And there's a couple different things that kind of brought him into prominence. He jumped really high on the Jenny McCarthy, Jim Carrey, Andrew Wakefield anti-vax stuff in that time period, like really pushed all of those things as much as he could on all of his websites. He also, when there was like the Ebola stuff in like the 2000s, he was very big on that. But his biggest one is probably around Y2K. In terms of the thing that I got into him for, and the reason we're covering it has to do with stuff around Y2K, because he was in the weird cross section of spam emails and conspiracy theory thinking at just the right time to unleash actual horrors on the world. I don't know how else to put it. It sucks. Around the turn of the millennium, Kyle, if you will remember, there was a big thing and a big to-do about all the computers rolling over to the year 2000 and just everything crashing and not functioning and the world collapsing, right? Yeah. That was a fear as we turned the millennium over to the 2000s. And Mike Adams had already started his email company. His aerial marketing was already thriving and selling to Fortune 500 companies and shit at this point. So he was in a perfect position to do what ended up being for him a 6-month experiment. And this is taken from a now removed article on an old website of his published by ZDNet from 1999, where he says, sorry, this was just on his website. He a lot of his stuff is in the third person, so I don't know if he wrote it or if it was just part of the thing, because it wasn't well accredited back at this point in time. But in an effort to fine-tune his web marketing techniques, Michael Adams launched a 6-month experiment to determine what kind of revenues are possible when combining his proprietary techniques and technologies with a high awareness topic. The result? With the help of only one employee, he created a subscriber base of over 50,000 people and sold over $400,000 worth of information products while offering an open-ended 100% money-back guarantee. I don't believe he actually paid anyone out for that. I don't know. But the thing he sold was effectively Y2K preparedness information on his website.
Okay.
So if you paid him, I believe it was about $100, you would get access to his Y2K disaster preparedness website, where there were articles about how to make sure you are Y2K compliant. And to push people to this website, there was a now infamous kind of email article forward thing called 39 Unanswered Questions About Y2K. And this was written by Mike Adams. And it basically had questions like, why are no government agencies listing their Y2K compliance? Why is no one fully ready for this? Why don't we know what's going to happen? Like, it's all of these kind of, I'm just asking questions in an attempt to bring fear and panic on people. So I'm not going to say that Mike Adams is fully responsible for the Y2K panic, but he did create an entire network of websites that referenced each other to game the system on search engines, to push fear about Y2K, to then sell you information and a fix.
Okay.
Now, in doing that, he created the template for modern conspiracy theory pages. And what I mean by that is, do you know how we talk about every fucking time we're researching something? How you go to all of these different websites, they all have the same article copy and pasted across everything.
Yes.
And they're all these interlinked websites that reference each other and link to each other and everything. He created that.
Okay, interesting. And I mean, I'm assuming you have like evidence. I mean, this probably has something to do with his search engine optimization stuff.
Yes.
And okay, that makes sense. Also, I would just like to point out that like I remember being confused about Y2K because I was just a little kid. I was like 6 years old, right? And or no, I would have been 8. And like just fundamentally, I mean, he's taking advantage of people who don't understand how technology works, because there isn't really like anything you could do about preparedness for the Y2K thing if it were to be a problem. But I'm assuming he's like predicting like a doomsday scenario, right? Like everything's gonna fucking explode.
Planes are gonna fall out of the sky and all that kind of stuff.
Do you know
the kind of stuff?
Do you know like what the issue was? Because it's still a problem technically.
I vaguely am aware. Like I read something on it one time, but I don't remember the difficulties of it.
For context, and I'll be very brief here. It's about the way computers store information about dates, because it's counting seconds from like a January 1st, 1970, I think. And it's like it can only store so many digits in seconds since that date, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's another date coming up within the next 15, 20 years that's supposed to also be like, we don't have a way to store that number in our computer systems. But like, again, Y2K wasn't, I actually don't know, like, I don't remember like what the fallout was, because I don't think anything really happened. Like there may have been some bugs or errors or something, but ultimately it didn't matter.
Nothing really happened. Yeah.
So
the thing that he is doing here, it was basically condensing down a fear-based message to very easy things, putting it out onto as many websites as he could that would all link to each other and make the early search engine algorithms that they had back then think that all of these websites were really important and boost them to the top. So anytime you searched for anything related to Y2K or anything, his websites were what you were seeing. And like to the point where at one point in this time, like I have a number now, but they found his by like looking at domains registered to his like some account that he had or whatever. He was hosting 86 different web pages, all linking to each other, with similar content and designed natural news, including like biodefense.com, cesiumeliminator.com. Like it's all of these very specific things that are just there to boost each other up in terms of references and clicks and farming, to boost his search engine return and drive traffic to his websites, which then get him both ad money and people to read, consume his content, and buy supplements.
Surely he wasn't like the only person to figure that out back then. I mean, late 90s search engines are like pretty new.
He's not like the only one to ever do it, but he was the big one in conspiracy theory stuff.
Sure,
like in terms of the thing that we talk about, he is our boogeyman.
Okay, so we can blame him. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I saw that referenced, and then when I was like digging into him, I started just reading about him, and it's just like he fits every fucking thing that we talk about. Like, you can't find a lot of detailed information about his schooling, but he does claim that he has a 4-year Bachelor of Science degree from a prominent university in the Midwest. And he also has a minors in mathematics and economics. However, no one has ever been able to find where he actually claims to have a degree from or any actual record of his schooling.
Yeah.
But he claims that he began to attend college before graduating from high school. And his early college coursework included microbiology and genetics. and he also claims to have a strong academic background in the sciences. It then will go on to tell you that in college entrance exams and graduate school entrance exams, Adams scored in the 99.9th percentile across all U.S. students, and that he, quote, aced the English, mathematics, and science sections of college entrance exams, scoring 100% on 3 out of 4 sections, earning numerous offers of scholarships from various universities, including the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, which he chose not to attend.
I love it when people like this do the Nathan for you, I got really good grades thing.
Yes. And the thing that is the funniest about this, in terms of the claims he makes, is he specifically, the only school in all of this that he specifically calls out is MIT. And the one thing that people know about the one thing that is known about MIT in terms of scholarships is they have only done entirely needs-based scholarships since the 1960s. So there are no academic scholarships for MIT. There is no,
Right.
You're so smart that we will pay for your schooling. It is only needs-based. So
Okay.
he picked the one school to claim that it doesn't make any fucking sense for him for what he says.
So we can take his suggestion that he has any like actual academic, background with a grain of salt, I guess.
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying he never attended college or anything. I don't know. I do
But,
not
like,
know
why
what his
wouldn't
schooling was,
you-
but boy,
like-
God, is it not what he claims.
If you wanted to convince people in such a way, why wouldn't you say what school? Maybe it's because it's not as prestigious a school as he wants it to
Yeah,
be.
it's
I
probably
don't
like
know.
he might have like a community college degree or something.
Sure.
I really don't know, but he makes all of these very bold claims and has absolutely nothing to back them up, as is tradition. So I believe it is true that he had type 2 diabetes. He probably still does. I don't know. But this led him to become a raw foods enthusiast and a, quote, holistic nutritionist. He claims to eat no processed foods, dairy, sugar, meat, or mammals, or food products containing additives such as MSG. Oh, yeah, he hates MSG as well.
Nice.
He is like just all he just is everything that is frustrating about these types. Let's go back to his kind of early works, because there's still one big thing that in his early years that kind of led to him being more prominent at like the worst time. So
Is it
in the
9/11?
time- No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
but he
All right.
did get into 9/11 trutherism. This is before that.
Okay.
We're talking about the anti-vax stuff because he was very big on that in the time period. The thing that I was talking about is there was a point in, I believe, the mid 2000s where he appeared on Dr. Oz. Now, this was part of a thing that was regarding trace metals found in like packaged foods, like heavy metals in packaged foods and industrial processed foods, which is like he had recently published these studies that basically just trashed every other company that he didn't work with and about having heavy metals in their supplements and natural foods and stuff. And this led to him having like a slight bump in popularity, which led to him being put on Dr. Oz's show. Now,
Oh,
do you know
my God.
Dr. Oz?
Yeah, I hate him so much. And also, how is that legal? To just like say my competitor's supplements have metal in them? Like what?
It's not like, okay. This is where you get into the fact that all of these things, he supposedly has an independent research facility testing these things, and the reports are from these independent labs. But
Okay.
then you go and dig into it, and the lab is something that he owns and is like part of, and it's like a part of it's like incorporated to the same place as this charity that he's on the board of and stuff, quote, charity. So there's a lot of obfuscation with it, and it was just it kind of like it didn't go viral because that didn't exist yet, but it was that kind of like buzzy thing that people just took. because he did a decent job for a little bit of not making it known that he was involved with this supplements company called like Amazon Health Supplements or something like that. That he was just saying, these are all of these other ones have tested for this thing, but this is the one place you can get fully accredited, non-laced supplements. And it turns out they had struck up a bargain about 6 months before that for part ownership in this company. So it's a bunch of shady stuff. It probably was at least dubiously legal, if not illegal. But when has that ever stopped any of this shit?
And Dr. Oz, maybe we should do an episode on him because, like, fuck that.
Oh, we
guy.
should.
Like,
yeah.
So
Dr. Oz.
Sorry. I was gonna say is like my mom has brought up Dr. Oz before, and I almost had a panic attack trying to like tell her, do not watch that man. Fuck Dr. Oz. Like,
yeah.
My mom just watches like daytime TV sometimes, and Dr. Oz has come up, and I was like, yo, do not.
Yeah,
do not fuck with that guy's shit.
It is entertainment that is being brought to you as factual information, and it's absolutely dog shit. So he went on to talk about this stuff. He had a 12-minute segment where the health ranger, Mike Adams, talked all about heavy metals contained in supposedly organic food products. Dr. Oz then mentioned an article that that Adams had written on air, including like the link to it and everything, which linked to naturalnews.com, which drove a lot of traffic to a lot of really shitty articles and alternate health stuff. So this is like one of those things where the thing he was brought on was to talk about was like just believable and like mundane enough that it got a lot of people and a lot of interest. And it is like one of the only things that he could have talked about that wouldn't sound like absolute like lunacy to people. So this was like one of those really awful, weird things where he brought on a guy who is at the same time touting all of these heinous conspiracy theories on his website to talk about a like safe thing and like Russian doll him into mainstream news. Like this was like really fucking like gross platforming, awful shit here. That he got a 12-minute segment to just talk about, and then drove a bunch of traffic to his conspiracy website.
Nice.
It is absolutely he even now, and the best part of it is that he went on there to at the end of the segment try to push his quote heavy metals defense powder, which was a website which was sold via a website that he registered just a few months before his Dr. Oz appearance. The Dr. Oz only asked him very softball questions, did not do anything in terms of like talking about natural news as a whole or the influence that it had, and just like it was effectively a 12-minute commercial that he got platformed as like a trusted expert on a thing that people were worried would kill them.
Fucking awful.
Yeah. So some people have done some digging into this, into the reports on everything. So a site called Think Progress, which has a really good rundown of some parts of the story. Actually, this would be a good time to say this. There are like a couple places that I pulled a lot of this information from. A Think Progress profile called Meet the Internet Entrepreneur Profiting Off the Anti-Vaxxer Movement. A genetic literacy project profile called Mike Adams Natural News, everyone's favorite uber quack #1 anti-science websites, and then a Daily Beast article about how natural news became a conspiracy hub rivaling InfoWars. There's also like another article that was kind of like an in-beef other natural website that just thought Mike Adams sucked and did like a lot of in-depth research on it. It has like a silly name. But this is the guy in the community that even a lot of the people that are like on his side hate him. That's the kind of person we're dealing with here. He has like he's made websites in the past specifically to like attack other competitors and stuff in the kind of natural news sphere of internet influence. And so, Yeah, one of the articles, Think Progress did a lot of research and actual investigative reporting on these kinds of things. They reached out to 8 separate vendors whose products had received poor or failing grades on Mike Adams's websites for their supplements and like organic products. And pretty much all of them were aware of his efforts and reputations, and almost all of them completely refused to go on the record at all to Think Progress or anyone else, basically saying when one finally agreed to be quoted anonymously, he basically said, people in our position don't want to validate his arguments or acknowledge them. We don't want to kick him in case he decides to come after us. The minute you open your mouth in that echo chamber, you're on the defense and there's no coming back. Basically, this guy causes so much trouble for these people that they all just try to ignore him and take anything he does on the chin, because he will just turn his entire network against anyone that tries to yell at him.
Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah. It is pretty awful. So 2 months after the Dr. Oz appearance, he had another big controversy when he started to post a lot of stuff about Monsanto and GMO crops. Specifically, the point that got him yelled at by a lot of people was where he likened them to Nazi collaborators. He basically called anyone who does GMO stuff Nazis and actual evil. This is something from his website and the article that got him some heat. Just as history needed to record the names and deeds of Nazi war criminals, so too must all those collaborators who are promoting the death and destruction caused by GMOs be named for the historical record. The true extent of their collaboration with an anti-human regime will all become readily apparent once the GMO delusion collapses and mass global starvation becomes an inescapable reality. I'm hoping someone will create a website listing all the publishers, scientists, and journalists who are now Monsanto propaganda collaborators. I have no doubt such a website would be wildly popular and receive a huge influx of visitors, and it would help preserve the historical record of exactly which people contributed to the mass starvation and death, which will inevitably be unleashed by GMO agriculture, which is already causing mass suicides in India and crop failures worldwide. So he then created this fun graphic that says Monsanto, but both of the O's are swastikas in circles.
Oh my God.
And it has 4 tendrils coming out of it that are sellout news sites, leftist publishers, pro-business media, and wiki sites.
So like, I'm all for free speech, right?
Yeah.
But when I am president, this man will be loaded up into a comically large cannon and fired directly into the sun.
Yeah. So yeah, that is fair. He also then in the same post went on to also say he quoted this was a quote from something. It is the moral right and even the obligation of human beings everywhere to actively plan and carry out the killing of those engaged in heinous crimes against humanity.
God.
So this guy is actually like that did get removed. That actually, I think he realized that was a little too far, and I believe that got taken down eventually. But within 24 hours of that posting, the site www.monsantocollaborators.org launched.
Oh my God, dude!
The site is now inactive. It has been taken down, but people have archived it. And it was a little more than just a list of journalists, publishers, and scientists. Who were identified by him as responsible for the suicides of 250,000 Indian farmers and all that kind of stuff.
Sorry.
So
he's saying that 250,000 people committed suicide because Monsanto
Indian crops fails, crop failures in India.
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't dig too far into that in terms of the real historical event he's referencing, but like he basically worked himself into creating this website in the like I imagine him typing that whole thing where he's like, someone should really make a website that documents all of these people, and then he's like, wait, that's a really good idea, I gotta do this, and just like starts fucking Monsanto collaborators.org and just like frothing at the mouth while doing this.
Jesus Christ.
He really seems to have a personal philosophy of everything can be solved with a domain name, because we haven't even gotten to possibly the most egregious one. because he also took a turn into Sandy Hook denial
I mean,
when that happened.
That's again, this should be expected at this point.
Yeah. And when when one of the survivors, David Hogg, became kind of an advocate for things and kind of and pushing, gun
God.
legislation and stuff like that, he created what is called hogwatch.com, which is
my God.
specifically like tracking everything that that David Hogg does, along with any other people that are pushing the quote false flag of Sandy Hook. And that, I believe, has also been taken down.
Yeah, no, that's that one should again. There's I mean, you heard me. We're like 2 minutes into this guy, and I already called for him to be in jail. Now it's like we've got all kinds of. I'm as judge of this podcast. I'm banging my gavel and yelling about jail time and all kinds of shit right now. But now that being said, Hogwatch is an extremely funny thing to name your website if it didn't have that context attached to it.
Yeah, if you take away the second G, it's a very funny website.
If it was like pictures of hogs and stuff, like, or spotted a hog out, those people who like do the dog watch or dog spotting Facebook thing. There could be a website where it's like, hey, I was out walking by the farm the other day, saw a hog, thought I might as well share, and it's like a nice blurry photo of like a hog, like a pretty good sized pig walking around. And it's just that's the whole page.
That would be a very good website, and I think we can table that for the end of the episode because we might talk more about that eventually. So, just to give you a kind of a taste, if we're talking website names, here's some websites owned by Mike Adams: prenatalnutrition.org, expectant-mothers.com, newstarget.com, spamanatomy.com, vitaminfactor.org, counterthink.com, which remember that one because counterthink is a specific thing that we will talk about in a second. That's very funny. Healthfactor.info, junkscience.info, brainhealthnews.com, publichealthnews.org, pharmawatch.info, hometoxins.com, poisonpantry.org, depressionfactor.org. Like, this guy just puts any two words that he can think of that are health related and something kind of scary and just fucking registers it immediately. At one point, the Institute for Strategic Dialogue, who has looked into this guy because they started to realize how much of an influence he has on the internet in general, found 496 probable domains owned by Mike Adams.
Jesus Christ.
And another group called NewsGuard found an additional 56. So
over 500.
We both have probably, in doing research for this podcast, ended up on multiple Mike Adams websites without ever knowing it.
That's, geez. God,
if you want to see a list of those websites, Rational Wiki has an article called List of Websites Owned by Mike Adams, which is a good place to start. And Kyle, you can go ahead and open that for later.
I'm already way ahead of you.
So if you ever see anything called the News Target Network or Truth Publishing International Limited, those are kind of the umbrellas under which a lot of these other things will be listed. That like they own, as far as I know, they own Natural News and his other major websites, along with all the subsidiaries and like links and stuff. So those are kind of the main entities that do all of these things. They're. So like we could there's like you could do more episodes on this guy and just talk about individual things, but let's just kind of go through some other greatest hits for this guy. Amazon Herb Company is the supplement and multi-level marketing organization that he wrote in a 5,800 word quote independent review on in August of 2007, approximately 6 months after he was given partial ownership of said company in return for all of these things.
Now, I'm looking at the list of websites here.
Yeah.
And again, just as far as funny, if it weren't attached to this guy, funny website names go, I really like scienceclowns.com.
That's very good. Yes.
I'm picturing like somebody doing some Bill Nye shit, but they're like dressed up like Bozo, like that could be kind of fun.
That would be kind of
Like,
fun.
get
And
kids
that would
into science
that would be a
again?
very fun thing to talk about in the big question.
Oh shit. Okay.
So, the other major entity that we haven't talked about that I feel like I have to just mention is if you ever see the Consumer Wellness Center, that is his kind of charity thing that he uses. It's a registered 501c nonprofit, 501c3 nonprofit. So don't do anything with the Consumer Wellness Center.
Sure.
But God. Okay, we've done the dark shit. So let's do the dark funny shit now.
Okay.
You know what I said earlier about counterthink, and you need to remember that one.
Yeah.
So counterthink was, or at least is now, has been folded into Natural News, but it was the place where he put up his political cartoons.
Oh no.
Yeah. So the
Wait.
Counterthink banner is his thing. So if you go on there, all of the Counterthink comics are going to be credited as concepts by Mike Adams, art by Dan Berger, who has unfortunately also worked on other comics properties, including Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But each comic is a one-panel comic. They ran from approximately 2011 through 2013 up to 2015 a little bit, but they were pretty sporadic at the end there. And it was all one-panel comics, gag comics about, the world of conspiracies and health stuff a lot of the times, and just kind of anti-liberal and lefty stuff. It's your garden variety like right-wing political comic. But then each comic was then followed up by approximately 10 to 15 paragraphs that explained both the joke and whatever he was trying to push on you that day.
That's always funny.
It really makes the jokes land when you have him then just go and explain the entirety of like how like seed oils are going to kill you and shit underneath it. But then around 2015, they switched from being one panel comics to just being, remember the old meme format where you put an image in the center of a black frame and have like text above and below it?
They're demotivational posters. Yes.
Yes. He switched it to that for like 4 or 5 of them.
Okay.
And then there was a hiatus. And then it switched to like Newgrounds Jib Jab level animations for another like 10 of them in 2018. And then as far as I can tell, there haven't been any new Counterthink creations in the past about 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
But comics is not the only art form that he took a crack at, Kyle.
Yeah.
He also made music. We have more for our conspiracy theorist mixtape here because he wrote at least one, if not multiple, rap songs. So if you want to, there you can look up the music video for his song entitled "Vaccine Zombies," which is exactly what it sounds like. It is just him rapping about how vaccines don't get that jab from the doctor because it's going to do a lot of things to you, including, as is kind of the crux moment in the middle of the video, your balls will shrivel up and maybe fall off. That's his big hit in the Vaccine Zombie song.
Animate? Oh my god.
Yes, it is. Kyle, you can if you want to. It is.
I'm gonna live react.
If you're going to
this.
take anything from this episode, if you want like the funny thing,
yeah,
be prepared because it gets like it is about like his like dick and balls shriveling up. But
okay, okay. So have you seen this?
I have. Where are you watching it, by the way? I'm just
it's on
curious.
YouTube.
Okay, I figured.
And if
I watched it on the embed on like someone talking about it, so I didn't know where it was hosted.
Yeah, he hasn't mentioned dick and balls yet, but
it comes in like the second minute.
I gotta be honest, like the animation is a little off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing it's sort of got like a thriller thing going on, which like
Yep.
the optics of that aren't so good nowadays. And I'm gonna skip around and there's the balls falling off.
Yep.
So oh my god, what the fuck?
In the middle of the video, he just comes in like rotoscoped.
Oh my god,
it's really weird.
I'm gonna try and find that part now because this is really bizarre though. Like this is truly bizarre. Oh, there he is. That's not rotoscopy. Yep. He's literally got a filter on. Like he literally just has some sort of like Oh my God, this is atrocious.
Yeah, so if you want to add like this could really fit into the Eric Dubé mixtape, you know?
Yeah.
So if you want to make the worst mixtape alive, you can add this song to it.
I got really excited for a second because there's like an infamous Whited Tower 7. What was it? There's like a 9/11 music like song. And like I looked up pictures of Mike Adams, so now like I know what he looks like, and like my memory of that 9/11 song, it kind of looks like Mike Adams, but I don't know if that was actually.
It might
him.
be. I didn't dig into his other hits,
but it wasn't a rap song.
Okay.
Why did Tower 7 fall? Let me see if I can find this. I don't know if it's him.
So while you're doing that,
go ahead. I'm listening.
I'm going to talk about Good Gopher.
Okay.
Because, Kyle, what would you think about this guy who is all about gaming search engines and email forwards and all that kind of shit? Why wouldn't he at some point make his own search engine?
Sure. So this is the guy behind Ask Jeeves?
Oh, God, if I wish. No, he made a thing called Good Gopher, which was a search engine made by Mike Adams that blocks out, quote, propaganda, and is all trying to be kind of a alternative news search engine. He also at one point made a wiki for like an early Wikipedia clone for like health stuff that also I don't think that exists anymore. I think it was called like Truth Wiki. I think that got taken down, but the Good Gopher I think technically still exists. But if you want, just to give you kind of a bit of an idea of what we're dealing with here with Good Gopher. So there were two kind of check boxes for the search engine. There where normally it would be like safe search or I'm feeling lucky and stuff, but in this case it is you can quote just check for searching independent media, which excludes mainstream media propaganda and government disinformation, or search academia for when you want things that are actually scholarly. It does push websites such as Natural News, TruthWiki, the Daily Stormer, TruthStream Media, the Economic Collapse blog, InfoWars, Breitbart, JewWatch.com.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So it's the thing that you won't find is stuff like the Washington Post or anything like that, to the point where if you search the Washington Post on Good Gopher, it doesn't show up. Websites railing against the Washington Post, along with his news websites, will show up. And so someone on this was taken from the Rational Wiki article on Good Gopher. They looked at it as of July 20th, 2015. They just searched the word vaccine on both Google and Good Gopher and then posted the top 10 results. So on Google, it's stuff like, a vaccine journal, vaccines on Wikipedia, vaccines.gov, an article, How Panicked Parents Skipping Shots Endanger Us All, a New Yorker article, et cetera, WebMD. And then on Good Gopher, you get vaccine fanaticism on TruthWiki, an article on Paul Offit on TruthWiki, something that just says no title. Then an article called Vaccine Impact, another TruthWiki thing. It just is all like a vaccine push following Disneyland measles outbreak is Mickey is just there. It's just nonsense. Like this post, this just gives you bullshit. Straight up. There is a Behind the Bastards 2-parter on Mike Adams.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he searches just the word Hitler on Gopher, on Good Gopher.
Yeah.
And the third result is like full-blown Holocaust denial. Everyone did work camps in World War II. What makes Hitler so bad? It is awful.
Now I just want to give you a quick update because I looked into the thing that I was talking about the why did building 7 fall or whatever. And it is not Adam
Mike
or
Adams.
Mike Adams, sorry. It's some guy named Martin Noakes.
Okay.
YouTube channel Marndin, Marndin, and the song is called 9/11 Building 7. But they have a couple other hits on here. Another one called I Don't Believe, and then in parentheticals, That Man Went to the Moon. And
I think I've listened to that one.
The Man Who Changed the World with a thumbnail of Tesla.
So now we can really start to build out our worst ever
get
mixtape.
the worst playlist ever. There's also David Icke videos on this person's YouTube, so be warned.
He also Mike Adams also pushes a lot of David Icke stuff as well.
Of course.
So now he didn't just make all the other things. He's taken his own swing at a lot of different stuff, including a YouTube copy that it was originally called Real in all caps video. But then it was later renamed Brighteon in October of 2018. That accompanied the launching of his new food and supplement store, Brighteon Store. So it's all about, this whole thing was created in response to, quote, censorship on YouTube, especially that of his good friend Alex Jones, where Alex Jones's live streams were moved to Brighteon after he was banned from YouTube. So he had created places for these people who got taken off of other social media websites to come and host their content on his stuff. He also, all of his stuff got taken off of Facebook and most other like major social media websites. But I found kind of debatable references to what got him removed from Facebook, because it seemed like they got removed not for content, but for spamming stuff, like for acting like spam accounts by just posting too much bullshit. So that seems to be maybe what got them removed. But I think there was then, like, when they did that big purge of like anti news websites, they got listed in that and kind of roped into that. So it's kind of a, chicken and egg situation a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
He also was like, all of his stuff was at one point removed from Google in 2017 due to him trying to use redirects to game their algorithm. This led to him. This was kind of, it wasn't the exact beginning, but it really led him to like push and rally against big tech and social media in general, to where he was like likening like every CEO of a major social media company and like lining them up in their faces in like right next to history's greatest monsters. Like it's like here it is. Enemies of humanity. Then Adolf Hitler, Benito Mussolini, Joseph Stalin, Pol Pot, Mao Zedong. Now Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Dorsey, Jeff Bezos, I don't know what that guy, and then Tim Cook. So he's big on these like the Facebook meme conspiracy images. That's a big thing that he does as well.
And I mean, the thing is, like, with somebody who ends up in this position where they have like some level of influence with some sort of conspiracy, quote unquote, news site, is like they get to turn their personal crusade into like a legitimate, like piece of news media, right? Like it's like they get to justify their own personal disdain for a thing by like turning it into something that people out there consume as if it's like actually news. It's they get to really vent, I guess.
The insidiousness of all of this stuff is like, I've laughed at a lot of stuff in this episode, but this is so insidious. Like the shit that he does is so like just grimy.
Yeah.
In a way that just makes me want to take a shower,
Yeah, skin crawling stuff. Yeah.
It's really fucking gross. That's the lowdown. I have like lists of his fucking holdings and stuff here. He's like, he owns all of these front companies that kind of bolster up all of these websites. Like there's a list of like 20 different companies here that he's started, and some of them are still extant. But a lot of the stuff crashes. Like he just keeps making new shit anytime something fails. And I guess that just goes to show, keep trying, I guess. By God. Yeah. Mike Adams, real character. He's not entirely responsible for the world as it is, but boy, God,
he has a hand.
man.
He has a hand in it as far as like the internet.
He didn't
goes.
fucking help.
Yeah,
So
definitely not. Good stuff.
yeah, he also there's also he got involved in like a lot of Trump stuff as well. Like he pushed.
I kind of figured that because there were a couple sites on the list that were like trumpnews.com and trumpinfo.org or whatever. Like, I mean, like I said, these people they'll take any hot button fringe topic that will, get clicks and they'll just, just make it a part of their identity again. And
right here. I just went to the list of his websites, and I really should check out Amethios.com, which is a music video site with songs supporting natural news' worldview, including Adams rapping or lip syncing as, quote, Amethios. So I guess as a character.
Jesus Christ.
Boy, howdy.
That's embarrassing. That's
right
rough.
over here. Oh, man. Libtards.news.
I saw
man.
that.
So now that we're just looking at his domain names, we can get to the big question, because the big question this week, as is only fitting with a guy like this, if you could free one domain name from this list and use it for another purpose, what would you take these? What domain would you liberate, and how would you use it?
Oh my God, there's a lot of things that you could do here. He really has. I mean, Science Clowns, like I said, that was like. But I kind of described my vision for that. DivinityNow.com. So what could we do with that? Well, we could do like a Seinfeld themed sort of come to Christ sort of, riff on Serenity Now, but it's Divinity Now, and it's,
that'd be fun.
Try and recruit people to recognize the sacrifice of Jesus, but also be fans of Seinfeld. That could be interesting. The one that I was eyeing that I think I would really like to do is, so he has newstarget.com.
Yeah, that's actually one of his original ones.
Yeah, I kind of want to take that and just make it news about the grocery store. It's not a grocery store. It's like a general store, I guess. The Target sort of chain of stores. It could be news
so
about.
It's just like it's updates on the Target Corporation.
Yeah, all the news that you would want to know about the Target Corporation and what they've got going on. Maybe they got like a new toy, or like a new. Maybe they're like, we started carrying this kind of cheese, and you could go find that on newstarget.com. That could be.
There's now like what's their fucking farms? I forget there's that store brand that they have. I was trying to make a poll and I didn't have it. Yeah, I think that would be good. Like I think we need a website dedicated to just not the corporate version. We don't want the news straight from Target because it's going to be all their bullshit's going in there. We want just the straight facts.
Yeah, exactly.
Of Target.
And I think it would be kind of fun to also get a hold of the libtards.news URL and just like,
I mean, that one is just so bad.
Make it make it be like, I don't know, just like make that like a legitimate news source. Just like force people to have to type that shit in, I guess. That is really incredible that's just like a website that he has.
So is turmeric gold liquid extract.naturalnews.com.
Colloidal silver mouthwash.naturalnews.com.
Boy, howdy.
CWClabs.com. So somebody out there.
That's his lab.
Right. And I can only think of an internet poisoned version of what that could have been. Eugenics.news is kind of funny.
The one that I think I think I want to take rangergear.com and just fill it of pictures of guys in khaki shorts.
Sure. No, that's a good use
in
of that,
in nature.
Yeah.
Just like people hiking in khakis with like ranger stuff, and it just make it like not actually sexual, but just some nice images of people hiking.
I really do think there's something to be said for hogwatch.com. I mean, you kind of got to drop. The thing is, though, like maybe you don't have to drop the second G. You just have to turn it into the website I described. And then people go, oh, well, they didn't have the 1G domain available.
Yeah.
So
There's also just like, if you think about it, a lot of these is like redirects. There's a lot of fun to be had if you just make some of these redirect. Like,
Yeah.
just redirect drugcartels.news to the CIA website.
That could be
like,
good.
That would
That could be good.
That kind of shit would be very fun to do.
Redirect tyranny.news to twitter.com. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh god.
Webseed.com
Yeah.
could redirect to Pornhub, maybe. So, you know.
Yeah. There's all sorts like this. It really is just kind of fun to look at this list of thing because he's paying for all of these
Yeah.
websites.
But he must be making enough money for it to just.
I
you
know. That's what's fucked up
fuel
is like
this.
these things have to pay for themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably are, unfortunately.
I didn't even notice this one. They're down at the bottom of one of the columns. There's just a single entry under the letter I, and it's just ingredients.news.
Yeah.
I want to take it. Fuck it. I want ingredients.news.
Yeah.
And I don't know what I'm going to use it for, but that would be a domain that I would like to
I mean,
have.
you just have an image gallery of like, here's some lettuce.
It's just going to be a live update on
Here's
like what
beans.
ingredients I personally have on hand at
Yeah.
any given time to cook,
Yeah.
so I can check it.
I like these are all some good domain names, and it's such a shame that they're in the hands of this fucking disgusting freak.
Free Mike Adams fucking
Oh.
GoDaddy account.
Oh yeah. Seriously, unbind all of these URLs and just give them away. I like it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We're gonna do like what's the fucking the like biblical thing where all debts are forgiven and stuff. We're gonna do that with his
The flood
all
thing?
of his stuff. No, there's a thing that's suppose one of those Christian concepts that no one follows,
Right.
which is every like 10 years or something, there's gonna be a day where all debts and everything will be settled.
Oh, I haven't heard of this.
So like and forgiven. There's a name for it it's a very common word nowadays, but I just don't.
Well,
I cannot think of
if-
it for the life of me.
If you wanted to read about that with a sort of Seinfeld theme to it, go to divinitynow.com.
There you go.
So,
Yeah. So this has hopefully been an eye-opening
It is.
Dive into the world of conspiracy websites and the guy who makes them,
boy.
Mike Adams.
Thanks
I don't know.
for
It's
bringing
like
that to me. Thank you for that.
this could have been a 3 fucking parter of just listing every fucking weird thing this guy has done, but it's like there's more. We could dig more. So feel free to look into him yourself, dear listeners, because there's a lot more where that came from, and this guy's tendrils still exist to this day. So, on that note, don't take care of some business.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So if you want to follow us on social media, which fucking do it, I guess, go on Twitter at IGW Podcast.
You can follow us on Facebook.com/ItGetsWeirdPodcast.
And we're on all your favorite podcatchers, from Stitcher to Google Play to Apple Podcasts to Spotify. If you listen to podcasts somewhere, look up It Gets Weird, and it's probably going to be there.
You can follow us on Twitch.tv/ItGetsWeird for some gaming, which will be coming soon. You can also email us at collagenpeptides.naturalnews.com at itgetsweirdpodcast.com. Just kidding. itgetsweirdpodcast@gmail.com. That's where you're going to find us. And you can send us emails, and sometimes we read them on the show. Who knows? Patreon.com/itgetsweird. We have a $2 tier and a $5 tier. At the $2 tier, you're getting It Gets Weird TV, where right now we are discussing season 2 of The X-Files. We talk about a weird show on there. You get to vote about what show we watch next when we finish a season. And then at the $5 tier, you get It Gets Weird TV plus another bonus show that comes in the off weeks. So you're going to get a bonus show every single week at the $5 tier. Whether you donate at the $2 tier or the $5 tier, you get access to the main show 2 days early on Friday instead of Sunday. And you get access to the Discord where we're all hanging out, chatting with listeners. People get to talk directly to us about the show and about weird stuff like Bigfoot and UFOs. So check it out. We also have a $1 tier where you don't get anything. You're just kind of giving us a tip saying, hey, I like your show. Thanks for doing what you do. Here's $1. If you can't donate, please tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your congressman all about It Gets Weird Podcast.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for continuing to support the show. This has been It Gets Weird, and I've been Niall.
And I'm Kyle signing out.
Peace.